Hey, it's Friday already. This is for the YouTube viewers. I'm starting the stream early. If you want to jump, this will start in 12 minutes. So you can just jump ahead 12 minutes. This is when the actual content will start. See you soon. All right. It's Friday already. Time flies. So today I don't have anything special planned. No interviews or anything like that. So I thought I would just give out a quick update on things that were happening on my side. And then if you want to interject in the chat and discuss, then feel free to do so. And then in 30 minutes, we might have Max joining and talking about his deployment issues on Google Cloud. It depends if we get the issues sorted with the video, so we'll see. Hey Kelly Jack, welcome on the stream. Yeah. So today, what do we want to talk about? I think I just want to... I don't know why I recorded this in my calendar, but I was just reminded that Direnv is now 10 years old. So it's kind of cool and weird at the same time. Time flies, right? Yeah, so I had Judo Fear making a commit a long time ago. The first version was actually written in Ruby. And then I found out that it was too slow because Direnv is executed on every prompt. So I wanted the language to be, the program to be really fast. And so at some point I rewrote it in Go. So here's the first commit. I remember I was writing Direnv because at the time there was a project called RVM. I think it still exists. It was a Ruby version manager and it was quite slow, and it was also a lot of bash code and it tended to break. And then I had this idea, why do we have to repeat the same thing over and over again for all the languages? At the time we also had a project called Ruby install that was just about installing a specific version of Ruby. So I had this idea, if you have Ruby install, then you just need to pick the version using this project, and that might be composable, and then each language would have their own version manager basically, but without the shell extension. So Direnv would just take care of the shell. And that's what ultimately brought me into Nix, actually, because once I had the Ruby version, I wanted to have all the versions managed. I had a bit of a try with a few other technologies, like I think it was Zero Install or something like that. But yeah, now that's why I'm a Nix user. So that's for the backstory. Otherwise, this week, DevShell, we didn't make much progress. It's working. Right now, it needs mostly documentation updates. It's deployed at one of my customers, so I get a real world experience in there. But I don't want to make it too big. And the main reason is because I want to get to this part, which is incremental rebuilds, derivations, which I'm going to talk about in a few seconds. So, but basically my idea is DevShell should always stay fairly slim. And that's based on experience again, because pretty quickly you have like 2 GB of dependencies to download. And that's not really pleasurable, especially when you switch between branches. You did the next packages update between the branches. And now you just wanted to fix something and you have to wait 10, 30, depends on your internet speed, right? So I think DevShell should stay pretty small. And then the main reason actually we bring things into the developer environment is because we need them to build stuff, right? Like you want npm because you have a node package, or you want GHC because you want to compile your Haskell project. But actually, imagine if Nix was really incremental. Then instead of all these toolings, you could just run Nix build or some wrapper around Nix build that give you some good guarantees. I have some ideas. I'm not really ready to share the details yet, but we have a prototype and I just need to play with it for a few more weeks, and then I hope to be able to share the details of that. So another thing we've seen previously was the Nix bootstraps. The idea was, again, in the same spirit of DevShell, what if we had a way to bring Nix into the user environment without them having to install Nix into their system? And it turns out it's possible with Linux, only with Linux, because we have user namespaces and we can bind mount the Nix store into a specific folder. So this is kind of broken right now. I'm kind of stuck. So I think it's kind of close, but we need to add more tests to the Nix project itself, because it's a bit of a thing that's not exercised by many people, so it gets broken. So I hope to get back to it soon, but it's not a priority right now for me. Kelly Jack says, I agree, Slim is good. People can build more opinionated, bloated tools on top. Yes, exactly. So, and because DevShell is based on a module system, you can easily import your own modules and extend the tool how you want it. I don't know if this is, so Kelly Jack says, I don't know if this is related to your incremental build idea, but it drives me nuts when I change a phase that's post-build and then I have to do a full rebuild which sometimes takes forever. Yeah. Also, when I do home manager switch, a bunch of packages recompile successfully, but one doesn't, meaning everything has to be recompiled again. I understand not switching to the broken env, but why recompile successful builds too? So let me react to the first sentence. So Nix packages is really designed for throughput, right? In the sense that for many things in software, you make a trade-off between throughput and latency. Latency is if you split your build in many, many different parts. So essentially, instead of having one big derivation, you have lots of small derivations. Then when you have a rebuild, you have better latency. Now, Nix packages, usually you build the whole package, so really you don't want to spend all this extra overhead of connecting the small derivations together. This increases evaluation time, for example, and we all know evaluation time on Nix packages is already pretty bad. So actually, this reminds me of a thing I discovered this week as well. Let me just take a note here. There are things in the community that exist and nobody knows about, so this shows us about to share that. Okay. So yeah, when you're in your own project though, you do many more rebuilds, right? So then you want to improve for latency. And also, hopefully, you have less packages than in Nix packages, so you can pay the overhead. It's less of an issue. So that's what this idea is. And what it entails is actually recreate new sets of derivations for all the languages. So it's a big project, but I think we can tackle the Haskell language first because it's quite popular in the Nix ecosystem. And it's also the one that could benefit the most from this. And then we can do other languages. So to answer your questions about Home Manager, I don't know that it's true. You could see recompile, but one trick is actually to use the --keep -going, which is only going to fail at the very end. And so it's gonna build everything and then fail. But then you're left with only the packages that are broken. I don't know if it aborts the other builds, but yeah, to be confirmed. I just know that keep going might be a trick for you. So then there's the Nix reproducible builds project that I talked about. So we're getting close. We have many more people helping on the channel, which is awesome. Some of these issues have been fixed already. The rsync issue should be fixed. I think Guile has been updated, which fixed the underlying issue. But we still have a few things to fix. The Linux one, we know what it is. We have to remove some features actually. There's a signing feature in the kernel that allows you to sign the modules that you can load into the kernel. It's enabled, but since we don't sign the modules, it's not really useful. So I think we can turn it off. We'll see. So Rizari, which is also working for Numdide, has been working. So Rizari is actually paid to work on open source stuff, and because I thought it was cool, he worked on the Nix packages formatter, then he did a couple of other projects, and now he's revamping to do MVC Nix. The idea of this project is to give an example of a project that uses Nix as the build system. And so he's been adding Rust backend and Haskell frontend and things like that. So I think in like 1 or 2 weeks it should be ready. And then we will be merging this to the Nix community. So this one is not Nix related. But I also do DevOps in my day-to-day. And Dragon is someone I also worked with and a friend. And he's been working on this missing container metrics project. And I think it's kind of neat. What it does, it's if you use Prometheus, one of the things that you often do is you use C-Advisor to export all the container metrics. And as the title says, it doesn't export all the interesting metrics. The main one is you can have OOM kills in your container. And these might not get reported actually. Because if the process, like the main process, if it exits, then you get an exit code from the container, right? But if a sub-process exits and the parent process doesn't handle the kill, then you don't notice that a process got killed by the out-of-memory manager. And so after deploying this, he quickly found out that FluentD was being killed on one of the nodes and some logs were not being forwarded. So yeah, that's a useful project. You should check it out. So this one is about installing arbitrary versions of Nix. I got the agreement from Elko to merge this. And so this means once it's merged that we will be able to install any version that are compiled by Hydra and that are younger than the commits that where this is being merged. So the reason I wanted to mention this is I think it's important when you do some open source work to not be let down by adversity. So what I mean is sometimes it can be discouraging, you do a thing and then like in this case it's Elko, but it's not to point him out or anything. But initially you can see he says, oh, there's some issues with the implementation that was proposed. And then the solution that he proposes is not really what I wanted. So at this point, I think it's easy to give up. And so it's just an encouragement that sometimes, you can just make another proposal, think of another solution. If someone tells you no, it doesn't mean no, it means this particular version is a no, but maybe there's another solution. And that's what happened here. You can see that then he approved when I made this other proposal. So yeah, I just thought it was cool. And that's about it for this one. So let's see if I can re-find the Hydra evaluation times. So what this is about is this one build output. Actually, I don't think I can find it now, but I will add it to the notes. So Hydra actually tracks how much memory it takes to evaluate Nix packages. And this is being published somewhere, but it's sort of hidden. There's a report that generates, and you see basically a graph growing constantly. Maybe it's in here, but there's so many outputs that I'm not going to be able to find it right now. Hey Wilkins, welcome. We're just doing random updates for today. So I talked about all of this. Actually, let me share the notes here. Yep, so if you want to find back the links, you can use that. Alright, that's it. I don't have a lot of Nix related stuff this week. I found some other interesting thing. I don't know if I should really expand the scope of this Twitch, but I think Nix Friday is amazing. So if you want to watch someone else, I think I encourage you to look what he does. He's interested in machine learning, existential questions like if we are in a simulation or not. I don't know, it seems a bit of an obsession of his. And he interviews a lot of very interesting people. So yeah, I think it's worth watching. Like George Hutz was particularly interesting. It's just interesting perspectives. He's building a self-driving system. There was also Chris Latner was brilliant. And then for another very different thing, Marshall Rosenberg, that was recommended to me by Daman. And this talks about empathy and how to deal with feelings and emotions. And it's fairly practical, actually. It's not some sort of new age bullshit. But yeah, I think it's interesting perspective. It can help you in your day-to-day life when you interact with people. And that's it. Let's see if we can get Max on the line. Hey Max. Can you hear me? So Max is trying to deploy NixOS on GCE and he's been having a few issues. Let's see if we can use Google Meet maybe. So how was your week, everyone? Hey, Mick92. Mick92 is working on NixLD, which we're gonna look at next week, I think. Hey, Max.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, and you?
I'm doing well.
Let me check the volumes quickly, because I always forget. Yeah, let me just ask, how's the volume, everyone? I guess we can just start talking in the meantime. So, where do you want to start with the problem? Do you want to describe maybe the issue or share your screen?
Sure, I'll go ahead and share my screen here. And, oops. If you can see Max Wilson Dev, this is the repository for my previous code, and the deployment that I have out there is fairly simple for the domain that exists. But what I'm trying to do now is to containerize it and have an ingress container that's just Nginx forwarding to whatever backend containers I may have running at the time. So I've got, and you can see a number of lines commented out here, and this is a bit of a bananas NixOps deployment. Apologies for that. But I've attempted to get the Mac VLAN setup working, and I've attempted to get the bridge setup working, and neither situation has ended up working. End all be all, I would love for these containers to just be exposed on the network just as they were regular nodes on the network. And eventually I would like to attach a static IP address to the Nginx ingress container.
Okay. Can you zoom in a little bit the terminal? Because
Absolutely. Is that a bit better?
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I can read it. I hope people can read it as well.
Sure. So there were a few, or at least working off of the examples provided from, where is it? Is this it? Yes, containers Mac VLANs. So I use this as an example, and I have a second node out here, cluster node 1. And I don't believe the configuration is correct here, because no matter what I can do, I can't curl the container that runs my site, and I can't ping the container that runs my ingress.
Let me just rephrase what you said and see if I understood correctly.
Sure.
So you're building a LAN. I mean, you're trying to connect all the containers onto a bridge on the one host. and
Correct.
they have to communicate so that they can communicate between each other. What is not clear to me is if node 1 is also supposed to be part of that network, or if it's just going to access maybe the ingress from the outside.
It could be. It doesn't have to be. The biggest thing is I need the ingress container here, the one that's just running Nginx to proxy to my backend containers. Um, I need this one to eventually be able to house a static IP address that I'm declaring up here.
Yeah, okay. I see. Yeah, so node 0 is going to contain all the application logic, including the ingress controller.
Correct. So it's got this site I. So that's my site ingress. Because of there was some reason I had to make these brief. It was a character limit of 11 on these for the container name.
Oh.
Uh, it's just site I and site 0, but site I is the actual container that is my ingress container.
Mm-hmm.
And then site 0 is just a container running my website on port 80, also through Nginx, which makes the whole thing a little bit extra confusing. But
Yeah. Okay.
hopefully that's simple enough.
Yeah, no, I understand. I must admit I never used NixOS containers before, so I'm not super
Gotcha.
Yeah. But, it doesn't prevent us from looking into the issue. And hopefully we can, with a second pair of eyes and maybe even some more pairs of eyes in the chat, we can maybe find the issue.
Sure.
So, do you know what happens if you don't have the bridge set up? What happens to the container?
So without the bridge setup, so just using the Mac VLANs.
If you don't set up any network like config.
Oh, if I don't set up any network configuration, um, that is a good question. Let me try that. I would think they would share the same cards as the host. All right, let's just comment all this stuff out.
So Make92 is asking if it's deployed right now. I assume he's asking if we can
No,
SSH into the VM or something.
Yeah, I've done that previously, and that's what I've been using to test all of these things. So this Mac VLAN setup, I can go ahead and redeploy that, and then while we're waiting on that to finish out, I can do whatever changes we're doing here.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
I think we have to SSH into the box fairly quickly anyways.
Yeah, and you can see some of what I did up here to actually do some of that debugging.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have the two containers running there, and then if ifconfig is run from that cluster node 0, I end up getting these particular interfaces. But anywho, where was I?
So no, can you go back? So there's, I could see two interfaces, and then a bridge and localhost.
Oh, up here.
Yeah. So ETH0 is, I guess, the host interface that connects to the internet.
Correct.
Then ETH.
And according to the Mac VLAN setups, you're supposed to set up an interface Eth1 with no local IP addresses, or it's make force of an empty list.
Mm-hmm.
But I could be misunderstanding some documentation there.
And then mv eth1-host. That's another. So yeah, Make92 says I don't see any bridges here. Or was this Mac VLAN?
So that should be this configuration here. Oops. So that's deploying, sorry. me read that comment. Bridge here, or was this was Mac VLAN MIC92.
I don't
This
even
particular deployment.
I don't even know what Mac VLAN is. What is Mac VLAN?
If I can scroll down. There we go. Yeah, when I was researching ways in which you can hook up containers to the same network as the host and expose them as regular hosts on the network, it seemed like there were two routes you could go down, and one of which was the using a host bridge or setting up Mac VLANs. And both of them seemed roughly equivalent, but if they're on Mac VLANs, they're not accessible from the host unless you make an extra interface setup.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't find any additional documentation on that, so I did not do that.
Yeah.
All right. So if
Can I say something stupid?
Sure.
What if the containers share the same network as the host? Since you control all the config, right? You can actually do the port mapping and then only expose the one that you want using the NixOS firewalls.
Okay.
Is that? I know it's not really what you want, but I'm just
Yeah.
thinking in terms of practical terms. Like if any of this doesn't work, I think you could fall back on that solution.
Oh, MiG-92. That's interesting. I don't know if Mac VLAN is specific to cloud providers. If so, I did not research that before doing this.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zimbabwe, that is a perfectly valid way to go. I'm not exactly going for practicality, I guess.
Yes. Let's
I'm
shoot for the stars. That's good as well. All right. So in that
Yeah.
case, I think we should actually look at the bridge because that's the most common setup if you go. I'm more used to
Okay.
Docker kind of containers, and they all use a bridge
Fair
actually.
enough. Okay. Would SSHing into the current setup for anything reveal anything else?
No, we need to do some search on search.nixos.org and then look for the
Gotcha.
bridges.
Yeah, I've got bridge. I've got the bridge configuration already written out here. I just need to comment and uncomment the correct things.
Okay.
Let's see. So, there was some mention of a default gateway at one point. Someone was mentioning NAT address stuff, so you may see default gateway mentioned in here, but I'm going to leave it commented out for now.
I'm just gonna research the Nexus options for containers.
Sure. There we go. Okay, so BR0 interfaces is the empty list and IPv4 addresses. Now, that one I'm just setting to a 10 address. Networking is not 100% my strong suit, so I'm hoping that is okay. And then for my two containers, they're hooked up with a host bridge and individual addresses of 2 and 3.
Yeah. Looks good. Yeah, let's deploy and see if it creates the corresponding interfaces.
Cool. All right. Now that that's done, we'll modify. Ooh, we just destroyed it, so let's deploy it. And it may be more reasonable to set something as ephemeral and keep the instances up and keep deploying, but I've found there are occasionally times where the incorrect container is left up and running. So I've just been destroying and redeploying since the iteration time's reasonable.
That's a shame, because NixOS is supposed to be, it kind of, yeah. NixOS is why the reason I use NixOS is because I don't have to do that kind of stuff usually.
Awesome.
Right.
Yeah, there's probably something that I'm horrendously messing up with the I guess the deployment lifecycle.
No, I mean I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying it might be that the NixOS containers are not really behaving as promised, because
Well, I don't have anything marked as ephemeral, so I'm pretty sure if I just redeployed the same, even if I modified the configuration, would it keep the containers the same?
well, it should replace the containers in my view. The activation scripts should replace the containers if the configuration has changed, right? But it's possible that there's a bug in the activation script, and so it doesn't do the proper job.
Fair enough.
Because there's still one part of Nix that is not pure, which is the activation script.
Oh yes, the NixOS rebuilds opens garage door tweet. Totally unrelated, but I just switched to Alacrity yesterday and I'm very much loving it.
Oh, right. Yeah. I use Termite usually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Alacrity is great as well. There's so many options nowadays. It's good. So what did you use previously?
I used to use ST, but I found configuring it with Nix, it was still easy, because I could just fetch patch various patches from Git left and right and build my own configuration file at post patch or I forget where exactly I did it in the configuration. But Alacrity just came configured with all of the things that I would do to ST out of the box. So it was a pretty easy decision.
Does it have a scroll back now, or is it still sort of fixed?
Yeah, it's got scroll back.
Didn't ST have no scroll back or something like that?
It doesn't come out of the box with scroll back. You have to come find a few patches for it.
Oh, okay. I guess if people use Tmux, for example, they don't care about the scroll back. All right.
So these are the
that looks pretty
ones
good.
Created here. Okay.
I mean, at least we have two interfaces and a bridge.
Right. Oop. So the big test that I've been trying to do is I've been trying to curl for site 0.
Wait.
Because theoretically,
first we have to list the interface on the. So now you're inside of the container, right?
Correct. I'm inside of the ingress container, and I really, really hope that it has access to view site 0, which hosts my website.
Yeah. Okay, go for it. But yeah, I can network debugging. I can do that. Okay, so
fair enough.
So basically here it doesn't find the IP, so it's not able to resolve the IP from the hostname. So either if you cat etc host, for example, you're probably gonna find out. So yeah, here you would either have to put the host in here. I don't know if NixOS containers comes with a DNS built in, like DNS mask or something like that.
They definitely have. Let's see. We can do networking, network address translation. Not sure if that would help us here.
Ah, nice. So Make92 says that machine D provides hostname resolution for containers.
Oh, is it what now?
So what we were talking about
Machine
is
D.
Yeah, it's part of System D.
Okay.
So it might be already on the host. But what we can do right now is actually try to ping the other IP from within the container.
So definitely not by domain name, and the IP should be .1.2.
Okay. If you do if config on inside, we still have it from before. Hey, be worry. We're looking at Max's NixOS deployment where he has 2 NixOS containers and he's trying to communicate between both. Oh yeah, Make92 says the net mask is incorrect.
What should I put them to in this case?
I guess 255, 255, 2550 should be fine.
So that would be...
Oh, try /32.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, that's that line's commented out. Which? Oh, on the local address. Are these correct?
I don't know if that will work.
Site ingress. It's down here. Sorry, with the resizing and splitting my screen, I've forgotten where everything is.
That's great. I don't have to do anything actually, because Make92 does. Yeah, that's the prefix length, right? Like if you put 32.
Yeah. So I need to know what the correct value should be for.
He says no /32 is incorrect. This is what it currently is set to. Okay, we need /24 for sure. That's right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
1/32.
So we need 24 everywhere.
24 everywhere except for...
Yeah, 32 is for a single address, and then 24 is for a typical LAN.
All
right. Let's see if we can do an incremental deployment.
Okay. So let me modify here. And what? Tac incremental?
No, just if you deploy again, I should just replace the config.
Let's try.
It's a bit unfortunate, but I have a meeting in 15 minutes. I hope we can get this fixed.
Sure, no worries.
Usually I stream for like 2 hours or something.
Thank you so much for having me on and helping me troubleshoot all this stuff.
Yeah, no problem. It's a lot of fun, I'm happy to help. Plus, Make92 is doing all of the work.
right. So on the host.
So can you just look at the activation to see if it's restarted the containers? Just on the tail of the deploy.
Oh.
So it updated the units. Okay. Maybe we have to start the containers. We'll see. But you can see it says stopping the following units, and there was containers in there. It looked like.
Yeah. Site0.service and site I.service.
Yeah.
Let's see. So what, do you want to stop and start them again?
No, let's connect into this and see if it updated the config.
.255.0.
All right. And then I think Make92 said the bridge also has the wrong net mask.
No. Okay. How dare you? Was set to all 24s previously.
Yeah,
well,
that's my bad.
I guess I didn't have the /24s up here previously.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So should this also be 24?
Yeah.
Host bridge is not needed in this case.
Yeah, but let's just fix it, and then this would be for communicating with the internet afterwards.
Cool. All right, so we'll put that one as a 24. Modify and deploy. Thank you. You've cut my iteration time down in half.
Yeah.
Or at least in fourth.
Yeah, man, that's why NixOS is so great, because you can actually deploy to the same machine, and you know that the it's not gonna diverge like you would on Ubuntu or something, where you start having old packages lying around or something like that. All right.
Right.
So I don't know. That's the oh,
interesting. That's progress.
Nice. So that means that it was able to communicate to the DNS server, reserve the IP.
Now that's from the host, though.
Oh, okay.
But yes, but you are correct.
Wait, what did we see? I was too slow then.
No worries. So if we're on the host here and we run ifconfig, it looks like our netmask was changed to that 24. And then from the host, we can curl through DNS name site0, which is great, but we cannot once we're inside the other container.
Right. And can you try to curl the IP?
From inside the ingress container? Oh, hey, cool.
All right.
Nice.
So
that actually will do, because I can configure everything else. Let me close this. I think, because right now this is just site0, but I can change this to be site0's public or private IP address instead of site0.
No, I think we can fix it, but we made some progress. So now we enabled the network to flow as we wanted. Now Make92 is asking if the NSS module is activated in the container. That might fix the issue for you.
I have not read about it, so I don't think so. It's definitely not configured, so whatever defaults are.
Yeah. Let me see the NixOS options.
Yeah. I don't see anything with NSS databases.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see anything specific here. I mean, NSS My Machines. I see.
It's not natively on the machine.
So here I would actually go into Nix packages and go into the NixOS folder and then grep for My Machines. That's how I would try to find it. I can do it. Or you can also set it in the etc hosts. That's kind of a... I mean, yeah. Now it's kind of working, so you can either address by IP or configure the etc hosts in the container. So it contains like the IP of the other container.
Yeah.
Or we can fix this issue, which would be the best.
See, I see NSS offered in Nix packages. So what, should I just install it and make it available to the containers?
No, I think NSS is enabled, but you have to configure the NSS databases.
Oh, gotcha.
And this relies on... right now I'm inside of the NixOS code, trying to...
Mm-hmm.
So if you check out Nix packages and then you look at the... yeah, you won't see it on my screen because it's on the host, on the hidden part.
Gotcha. Let's try that, I guess. So, it says databases. It's the group.
Okay, if you go inside of the container and you cat etc nss switch.conf
for the ingress.
Oh, Nix Make92 already found before me. Yeah, like if you go in the ingress and you cat etc nss switch.conf. All right, we already have My Machines. So this means this is used as a mechanism for host resolution. So something is blocking My Machines to work properly. So this would require more debugging, I think, than the 5 minutes that we have left. Yeah, Make92 says that's where you start strace debugging and whatnot.
There, strace. There's your debug.
All right. Well, that's it for today, I think.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And let me know if you hit any other issues. We can also take it offline. And everyone else, hope to see you next week. And you too, Max. If you have
Thank you.
any requests, then you know where I am. So just send me messages. All right. Well, Nubs, we're also wrapping things up here. So have a great weekend and see you, everyone.